All right. No questions?
Just to check, nothing last minute for you guys other than the Tanev deal earlier?
We have one little minor thing, but for a 7th round pick, but it's not, the trade call hasn't happened, so I don't want to mention that yet. But there's one little minor piece.
Did the deadline and the lead up to it go more or less as you expected for you guys, or is there anything about the market the way it played out that surprised you?
I think every year the trade deadline is a different sort of animal when it comes to the type of market. You know, you go into it not knowing what to expect. We made the moves we made. 2 of the 3 guys we moved were UFAs, and you know we're pleased with the return we got in those deals. So when you look at us, you know, moving forward, that's 5 first-round picks in the next 3 drafts, 5 second-round picks in the next 3 drafts, so 10 picks. I'm not sitting here saying we're looking to draft 10 players. In a perfect world, we're looking to move some of these draft capital pieces to try and acquire players and move the process forward a little bit quicker.
Ron, it seems like the deadline was pretty robust for sellers. A lot of stuff going back in return for different pieces. Are you surprised by how somewhat lucrative it was for teams looking to move pieces and what the market ultimately played out as across the league and for you guys in general?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I think there's certain things that factor into it too. You know, you look at the free agent market and what's available there and what may not be available. So teams are looking at that. They're looking at pieces. It was a little bit surprising. Seemed to almost turn into an arms race in some of the division. It's going to be pretty interesting how things play out. There's some teams that did some really good work at the deadline bolstering their team, and they could match up against each other in the first round, which, you know, both teams can advance. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. But yeah, there was certainly some good returns on for the sellers in this trade market.
Ron, to that point, it seemed like the market for centers was pretty hot. Do you think it helped with the return that you made that first trade earlier and not wait until today?
Yeah, I think you know, I've always said this. You kind of have a price in mind that you have going into it. If you get your price and you're comfortable with it, then I think no sense waiting and hesitating, and that was the case on our first move. You know, we're getting 2 firsts and a second, and a player back in the deal. So we felt that was a real solid return, and you know, we moved forward with it.
Ron, when did the conversation with Winnipeg pick up about the trade?
You know, different teams sort of kicking tires and stuff. That one sort of came together this morning. You know, I think with all the big names out there and a lot of the big trades happening, it's you know, it's always interesting to see how it plays out. But that one sort of picked up steam this morning. So, you know, and I do want to point out, you know, you look at Yanni, you look at Bjorky, and you look at Tanev. The things they did for this organization on and off the ice were tremendous, and you know, we can't thank them. And in the case of Yanni and Bjorky, they're Wisen families as well. They really you know, represent the Kraken well. We wish them nothing but the best moving forward. It's just unfortunately a tough part of the business sometimes.
Ron, 2 things. First, did you know you were the 2nd oldest player ever traded at the trade deadline?
That would be the Toronto one, not the Pittsburgh one. Yeah.
The Toronto
yeah,
one. Right.
I did not. I was 41, yes, that year. So.
Paul Kretschy beat you out by a couple of months.
That's a record he can have, I guess. Not worried about that one.
Other thing, you think that the team you have is better than what they showed this year? What has to go right? What's going to make people say, boy, I don't want to meet the Kraken in the playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, you look at the 2 seasons ago when we had the real good year, we didn't have a lot of injuries. Last year we had a lot of injuries. This year again, and it's not an excuse, everybody has them, but you know, you lose Eberle, your captain, for 3 months, 40 games of the season, and then when somebody's out 3 months, they don't step back in and pick up where they were before they got hurt. It takes a while to ramp up. So now you're looking at, you know, is that 50 games or 55 games? You don't have your captain at his best. You know, we lost Dunn for 6 weeks, arguably, you know, our top defenseman, and on the power play and the minutes he eats and stuff. So those things hurt. We lost Yanni for a couple of months, you know, January through when he came back just the other day. So these are things that factor in, and our depth is getting there. We're just not at the point where we need to be. But you start looking at what we have coming in the pipeline, and you know, in Coachella Valley 2 years ago, I think we were one of the oldest teams in the league, and especially in the forward group. I think last year we were the 20th oldest group of forwards in the American Hockey League. And this year we're the third youngest. And yet we're still sitting in first place. Well, at least we were as of 2 days ago. I didn't look this morning. I was a little busy, but, we were sitting in first place. So, and that's with a lot of our young kids coming. So there's a lot of good things on the horizon there. I said we've got 10 picks. We're not sitting here hoping to draft 10 players, but we're hoping to use those picks as capital to try and acquire players and speed things up. Obviously, we want to get healthy and hope that happens next year. But, we have to look at things because obviously I felt going into the season we're a team that could compete for the playoff spot, and we're not there. So that's why we had to do the things we did. And we want to get to the position where we're in the playoffs and competing.
It's not an easy gap to make up with how daunting the West is, especially after.
It is, but you look at, before the game against Nashville, before we started making these moves, we were 11 points out. That's 5 wins, basically, or 5.5 wins over the 60 games we had played that point, 62 games. So I think it's doable, and I think we have a team, and if we make the right tweaks over the summer, that we can do that.
Big picture, how do you view the flexibility you'll have this summer now with the cap space freed up from moving Bjorkstrand's contract for next year, and kind of what you see the landscape for your team this summer?
Yeah, no, we, a quick look, we're roughly 20 million or so in cap space available. We talked about the draft capital that we've acquired to do that too. So we're certainly looking at the free agent market, and we're certainly looking to see if there's any trades that teams want to make ahead of the draft, which is kind of the next point where a lot of trades seem to happen. So we'll be very active in that and trying to make our team better.
And another maybe random one. St. Louis used the RFA offer sheet process last year to get Broberg and Holloway and such. Teams have kind of been hesitant to do that in the past. With the cap going up now, do you think that maybe changes teams' willingness to maybe use the RFA process a little bit more now moving forward, or how do you kind of see where that sits?
No, I think it's almost got to be kind of the perfect landscape, right, where you can do it. But I don't think teams would hesitate if there's an opportunity to do that, to take advantage of that. There's only so many ways you can acquire players, and if that's an option to you, why not use it to make your team better if you can?
Which of your prospects do you feel are at the head of the line that could be in the Kraken roster next season?
Yeah, I started answering that questions, and I upset a lot of other guys. But, I think you can just take a look. Jacob Melanson got a game last night. This is a kid that was playing really well early, had a great camp, playing really well early, broke his leg, and came back and was playing, and we gave him a game last night. So that was exciting to see him get that opportunity. Yanni Newman is got 26 goals. He's #1 in the American Hockey League for rookie goal scoring, and I think he's 4th in rookie scoring with points as well. And I think he's 4th overall in goal scoring in the American Hockey League, and that's really good for a young kid. That's exciting. At some point here, we'll give him a look too before the end of the season. We've seen glimpses of Winterton coming up and down. Ferkus is playing well down there. We have a lot of guys that are actually playing well down there, and that doesn't include guys outside of that, right? So, just go look up Berkeley Kattenstedt in the Western Hockey. That's pretty impressive too. So based on what he's doing, I would fully expect him to push next year in training camp to make us have a hard decision of whether we keep him on our roster. So a lot of good things on the horizon, but we also have the assets now in the cap space to do some other things to help make us better sooner rather than later.
You sent Melanson, Fleury, and Myers down this morning to keep them eligible for the Calder Cup playoffs. Is it just those three, or is there anybody else?
No, so in theory what we do is we paper them, we send them down and recall them. We get 4 recalls, so that actually burns. We sent Melanson down, we didn't recall him. We called Fleury and Hayden, so we've burned 2 recalls at this point. Yeah, so we have 2 left.
The 7th rounder is the guy who's currently playing in Coachella Valley.
Yes, but I didn't tell you that. The trade call hasn't happened, but yes.
It's starting to be reported.
Yeah.
There you go. So, yeah, that's what's happening. So, all right. All right, thank you all.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right. I knew the prospect.